Hi everyone, and welcome to Gardening and Canning in the City. Today we're going to talk about dehydration. Now, what's nice about dehydration is it preserves all the vitamins and minerals, whereas canning you lose a lot. So what I like to do is dehydrate stuff that I will put in soups and stews and crock pot meals and that type of thing, and it works really well and preserves all the vitamins. And then I could, use a can of meat and throw it in the crock pot with a little sauce or whatever I'm going to put in there, and then throw in the vegetables, put the cover on it, let it go for 46 hours, and it's ready to go. All these dehydrated vegetables rehydrate really well. So I'd like for you to give it a try, and as things start getting really crazy again and the store shelves start emptying, at least then you'll have a lot of vegetables to where you can make soups and stews for your family very easily. For dehydrating corn, what I like to do is get this Kirkland Signature Organic Sweet Corn. It's at Costco. It's very cheap and it's organic. So what I like to do is just open up. So what you do is you take your tray and you're just going to spread the corn right out on the tray. And it doesn't matter if it's touching or anything because the corn is going to shrink up pretty good. So just like that. And this one bag will make about 3 trays. So there's 1 tray. If you're doing corn from out of your garden, you will have to blanch it first. This has already been pre-blanched in the process of freezing, so it's all ready to go, which makes it really easy and not very time consuming when you want to dehydrate and preserve corn. I mean, there's always canning, but this is always nice because once it's dehydrated, you can use it in soups and stews and ramen, all that stuff. You can just put a little handful in anything that you want and it rehydrates really well. Here's tray number 3. This should fit the rest of it on here. I did defrost this a little bit so it's not so ice cold. If it's still frozen, you can always run a little cold water out over it and just run it right in the sink and right through the rack. These trays are from my Excalibur dehydrator, but you can also use other dehydrators. You want to make sure you have a nice fine mesh for corn because it will fall right through once it's dehydrated because it gets really small. That's the rest of the corn. And when you're running the dehydrator, I like to make sure that I load the thing all the way up. I have 10 trays on my dehydrator. I want to load it up with 10 trays of items. So that's 3 trays of corn. Now we're going to go to green beans. These are the green beans I use. They are frozen too, so they're already blanched. But if you want to do them out of the garden, all you have to do is pre-blanch them, and then you can throw them on the dehydrator also. So same as with the corn. You're going to just load these right on the dehydrator. These green beans are kind of long, so if you want them to be smaller, now's a good time to do it. But after it's dehydrated, they snap pretty good. My doggie loves dehydrated green beans. She'll eat it all day long, let me tell you. That is her doggie snack. You want to make sure there's no little stems in there because there'll be stems here and there. There we go. Just spread them out. And these shrivel up really, really good, so I don't even worry about making sure that they're all separated because they're going to shrivel up to nothing by the time that they're done. There's tray 1. Okay, let's do tray 2. I find that I get usually 3 trays with the green beans too. What's nice with dehydrating is space. You can preserve a lot of dehydrated food and it will take up very little space. And it's great for soups and stews because they rehydrate so well. You'll never even know it's dehydrated food. I mean, you really can't tell the difference. Let's see, once it's dehydrated, it goes right back to where it was before. It's great to, crock pot food like beef stews and stuff like that. Green beans do really good in beef stews. Here's tray 3. Also, what's really nice about dehydrating your vegetables is it empties out your freezer. So you can put more meat in the freezer and stuff that you need to freeze, and it frees up a lot of freezer space. So there's no use in having a whole lot of green beans or a whole lot of corn in the freezer. You can have 1 pack of frozen in there and have the rest dehydrated so that when you use it for soups and stews, you can just get a handful of your dehydrated green beans and stick it on there. And you throw it in the crock pot and let it cook all day long, and it will be amazing. All right, there's tray 3. Next on the dehydrator, I'm gonna put asparagus. This is great for asparagus soup or, stews. It does the same thing. It goes in, just put a handful of it in your soups or stews, and it is incredible. These are in little steam packets. So I'm gonna open these up. Yep, I'm gonna do the same thing. If you want to chop these up into smaller pieces, you can, but it's not really necessary because once they're dehydrated, they snap pretty easily. So I'm going to lay these all out. This is really good for making asparagus soup. You can use the dehydrated asparagus. It works really well. Alright, so I'm going to load the rest of this up on this tray and we'll be back. Here we go. Those 3 bags of vegetables, very easy to put on the trays, made 3 racks of corn, 3 racks of green beans, and 2 racks of asparagus. Now I'm going to turn the dehydrator on, and when it is all done, I will show you how to test it and make sure it's ready to go. But this is an easy way to store lots of vegetables without them having to take up the space of being home canned. I'm going to put this on the vegetable setting, which states 125 degrees. I'm going to let this go overnight and then I will check it. It's better to over dehydrate than under dehydrate because you don't want any moisture in the vegetables at all. You need to get it to where it is less than a 10% moisture content in order for it to be safely stored without getting mold. Well, our dehydrated vegetables are all ready to go, and now I just want to go over what they're supposed to look like and how to package them once you have them all done. So let's go over that now. So right here is our green beans, and if you take a look at this real close, when they're done, they will snap. There is no moisture to them. They will not be mushy. I mean, you can see they're really, really hard. And the corn, the same way. When you drop it, it will plink, and when you squish it, it will be hard as a rock, and you will not be able to mush it. Here is our asparagus. You can see it pretty much goes in like little tiny sticks. Here is a little pepper that I put in there, and it's the same way. And I can take the seeds out of these peppers, and I can save them for next year. And my little doggie, she's begging. She loves dehydrated vegetables. She's such a nut. And she's gone. Okay, so let's go over some of the things I do dehydrate. These are all vegetables, so there's no fruit in here. This is dehydrated tomatoes, grounded up, and I will use this in soups and stews to thicken them up a little bit. It's just a powder. This is garlic. If you look inside, it's chopped garlic, and I take that from out of the garden, and I chop it up in the food processor, and then dehydrate it. And this is what I have, and I can use that in pretty much anything you use garlic in. I can also grind it into a powder and make garlic powder. This is tomatillo powder. I can use this to mix with garlic and peppers and just rehydrate it and make salsa verde. These are some of the dehydrated tomatoes right out of the garden. I can grind those down, I can throw them in soups and stews, you name it. These are some peas I just took out of the garden this year. They're all dehydrated and ready for soups and stews. They take a little longer to dehydrate to rehydrate, so the best thing to do with peas is for a long-term like crock pot meal. They rehydrate. They won't rehydrate in 15-20 minutes. These are chopped onions, so if I want to use chopped onions in a meal, I can use these. Just rehydrate them with some water. These are bell peppers. I have all different colors, red, yellow, green. These are out of the garden. Whenever I want to make something, I got those. This is kale. Kale, it rehydrates really quickly. It's great in soups and stews. And I throw this in like the very last thing. And it rehydrates really quick. Of course, this is our green beans, like we just did. These are some peppers. They can look just like the ones you buy in the store when you dehydrate them in the garden. They work just as well. And this is corn. See the corn. And this is cauliflower. Cauliflower dehydrates kind of brown, but when it rehydrates, it goes right back to bright white again. These are mushrooms. These are great for whenever you make a marinara sauce or a cream of mushroom soup. These are potato dices. These I bought at the store. They were frozen, and I just dehydrated them. They're already blanched. They're really easy to dehydrate. I also do that with potatoes O'Brien, and they rehydrate really well for breakfast. Or soups and stews, if you want to have potatoes and bell peppers and onions in your soups or stews, that'd be great. This is coleslaw. You don't even have to blanch this, you just throw it on dehydrator, and it works great like if you're making ramen. You know, ramen with some vegetables is really good. And once I have a whole bunch, I vacuum seal it in a food saver with an oxygen absorber. These are 300 cc's. I get these at Winco. They're pretty cheap over there. But I just throw one in there and vacuum seal it. And then I throw it in a Mylar bag and I mark the top of it and I put it in a tote. And what happens is if by chance this springs a leak, that oxygen absorber inside will soak up all the oxygen, so I don't have to worry about ruining what's in there in case the vacuum seal does break. So this is an easy way to clear out your freezer if you're wanting to store more meat over this little COVID issue. It's great to clear out the vegetables, or if you just want to stock up on a lot of vegetables in case you're worried about in the stores not having any. Geez, I have so many vegetables in Mylar bags. I could go months without going to the store. When we actually closed down for COVID, I didn't go to the store at all. I didn't go to the store for like a month. And then the only reason I did go was because I didn't have any greens fresh out of the garden because my garden wasn't planted that winter. But you can see, you can stock up very quickly and very easily doing this method.
doing? Aw. Good little babies. Aw. Look at your babies. Aren't they cute? They're adorable. Come on, little one. Come on over and get something to drink. There you go, baby girl. There you go, babies. Aw. They're so cute. Big stretch. Oh, got a big stretch. Just gotta stretch my legs out.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's edition of Gardening Canning in the City. If you want to use your garden vegetables, all you gotta do is blanch them first. It's really simple. But if you're using frozen vegetables, they're already blanched. It's really simple. Just throw them right on the dehydrator. So this way it's easy for you to stock up for your family. So go ahead, start stocking. Bye.